other side, which is going to be Group B. Now, Group B, we've already seen how dominant Loops and All Gamers Global have been. The positions have been secured so far. R8, unfortunately, will not be part of the Esports World Cup experience for now. So we have the top 2 Loops and All Gamers Global in Group B. In a short moment, you will take a look at Group C and Group D. That is where the fire is going to be at, because, like I said, this is the decider for today. And we'll take a look at the schedule. First up, for Group C and Group D, we have Team Secret, who has by the way, congratulations. They have already made it into the top 8. They will be qualified for the Esports World Cup. Today, we're going to be taking at the fate of Isurus and Kagendra, who is going to come out tops and make it all the way to the World Cup qualifiers. Likewise, for Group D, LGD Gaming Malaysia. They've already done the deal, signed the contract, signed, sealed, delivered. They are making their way to Riyadh as well for the Esports World Cup. This leaves us with impunity against RRQ.
Yeah, so much at stake, and both of these, we still have yet to find out who's going to make it. But again, both of the Malaysian teams coming out with the victors, understanding that the level of play was so high. Like LGD, I think their fastest game was about 7 minutes and 40 seconds. It was actually insane yesterday. And so they're going to be resting because they're just going to rest on their laurels to, get them into the EWC. But let's talk a little bit about today. I mean, we talked about Boom Esports Team Vitality. That's going to be the first one up. And then Isurus Kagendra. I think that one's going to be super close. And then, of course, Vivo Keat Stars versus Food Esports. That's going to be the third match of the day. And finally, RRQ versus Impunity Esports, which, again, every team needs to win today.
Yep, victory is a requirement. It's not even left to chance. So at this point, I think the stakes are pretty high, right? So I think when we take a look at the games later, every single thing matters, right? Every single camp, every single creep, every single turret, and of course, the crystal is important. But let's take a look at the team's lineup today. Boom, gonna be represented by our 5 lovely players here: Miggy, Ajizix, Dragon, Toshi, as well as Impressive. Now, for those of you that have followed us throughout the couple of days thus far, Impressive really speaks and embodies his name. He has been really impressive on that support roam role, and I'm expecting even bigger things today. And of course, their counterparts, they're going to be going up against Team Vitality. They're no slack as well, right? But we'll slowly introduce these players in a bit. So, Holler, what do you think about their competition so far?
Well, let's talk a little bit about Boom Esports here. Not to make fun of Miggy, but Miggy looks a little sleepy in this photo. I feel like also in the tournament, he can kind of step up a bit on this one. But let's talk a little bit about Team Vitality here. This is the team from France. We have Nighty, we have Shanks, Highland, Yash, City Boy, and Benji, of course. City Boy's, I think he's one of the kind of the standouts, at least to me. What are your thoughts on Team Vitality, Kid?
Really strong, and we've already seen the shanking act yesterday, right? So Shank was playing the top lane yesterday, and a very monstrous performance with the Arlie as well. So I think there is quite a lot of even ground between these two teams. The question is today, who is going to be able to make that slight edge, right? Who's going to get that advantage for the team where they can start building off of it and maybe steamroll the competition out of the first game at least, right? Once again, this is a best of 3 series, so the stakes are high, right? You need to have that advantage. Having a 1-game cushion is going to matter that much more, especially when you're vying for the top 2 spots in Group A.
Yeah, every point matters, right? Even the game differentials. So if you can 2-0 is way better than a 2-1. So you definitely want to put yourself in a prime position. Now, if you happen to be watching in, you're tuning in, or you happen to be in KL itself, this one is going live at the Sunway Velocity Mall. Do check it out. Of course, you can see these players in action and kind of see, you know, the whole heart of victory and defeat. Sometimes you might see some people crying. I mean, unfortunately, there's so much at stake that it potentially could happen. But we're going into the draft here. Boom Esports starting off with a Dahlia pick. Your thoughts on this as a first pick?
I think it's a very flexible pick, right? It opens up a lot of options for the side of Boom Esports, but more importantly, I think there's a lot of respect coming out from Team Vitality, right? They are actually going to ban out the Arlie as well as the Athena. We've already seen the damage an Athena can do, right? So much disruption going into the jungle, and it really messes up the tempo of the team. Likewise, on the side of Boom Esports, they're going to ban out the Mai Shiranui as well as the Pei. So Mai Shiranui, we've already seen, if put into the right hands, it can be a extremely strong start for the team. So they will take that out of the picture. Let's take a look at the next set of picks here. It's going to be the Lady Sun along with the Haino here. So RG6 and Dragon responsible for the next two picks for the team. We've already seen how strong a Lady Sun is, especially when you give her an unfair advantage in terms of the farm and gold accumulation, right? And Haino, of course, with the Fate Rewind, not only able to save his own health, he can kind of reverse the health of the turrets as well. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on.
And I mean, okay, the Delia pick, the way I'm kind of looking at this one, it's only been picked 3 times in game, but it has a 0% win rate thus far. Yes, we've only had 2 games of play, but that's not a really good showing. Lady Soon and Haino much higher in terms of the pick rates. They're definitely more popular. Lady Soon, you have the potential for outplay. The amount of late game damage that this monster can do is just absolutely insane. And you already talked about Haino in terms of just having that flexibility, that poke, and of course that Fate Rewind, which is going to be amazing going to any sort of game. But now, let's talk a little bit more about the Shangguan here. We've seen a little bit of a pick, again, a 0% win rate. It's only been seen in 2 games thus far. But what are your thoughts? What about this, about the Shangguan pick that Team Vitality is looking at here?
Well, Shangguan, as we all know, with the finishing stroke, very good single target damage, right? So I think that's the idea behind this pick for the side of Vitality. They want to be able to burst down a singular target. And, you know, one of the reasons why we don't see Dolia winning that many matches is that she's not exactly very tanky as well, right? Even with the Wave Breaker, yes, she does get some heals in the health, in mana, but she's not exactly a very tanky hero. She's pretty squishy, to be honest, and so this is the doors opening for Vitality to get a snipe down on the squishies of the team, and hopefully with the lack of control, with the lack of healing coming out for the team of Boom Esports, Vitality can kind of capitalize on that, get the main damage in. That's also the benefit of the Kaiser and Elaine, right? So they are both pretty tanky as well. Kaiser with his ultimate will be able to go in, get the lifesteals, get the slows, and hopefully steamroll, lawn mow their way across the front lines and maybe just across the entirety of Boom Esports.
Yeah. And I like this one. I mean, just kind of rounding out the draft a bit in terms of the Zhang Fei kind of helping out. You're talking about them being a little bit more on the squishier side. You kind of want somebody to kind of be frontlining and being that initiator tank, and then the Elaine and Kaiser can kind of clean up a bit. So I do see the synergy throughout this draft thus far. But if we're looking more to the Boom Esports, who kind of helps round this one out? You probably need a bit of a tank here as well, right?
Yep, they do, which means at this point with the finalization of the draft, right, I think the Haino will actually go for a tankier build. At the same time, with a tankier build, it helps with his auto attack. It gives him more lifesteal in that sense, right? So having the Yu one is great because with her ultimate itself, she will be invincible and she gets to heal her team as well. But my concern is they are very prone to surprise ganks from the side of Vitality, and with the Shangguan, it's actually something that is one of their prowesses, right? One of their strengths. And I'm really concerned whether Vitality, or rather Boom, can they survive the onslaught when Vitality hits their strides in itemization and even map control.
Okay, looks like we've got the drafts in mind. The coach is going to just shake hands here going into this one. But if we're going to look at the draft, and we'll sew that one up just to kind of reflect on what we've going into this one with the first match, game 1. Going into this one, but who do you think has probably the easier lineup to play here?